Howdy, howdy, howdy. It's the Rodfather 916. If you are under 30 and in a relationship or have ideas about love, you may not want to watch this video because what I'm going to say may upset you and possibly burst your dream. So I'll give you a few seconds to stay, but I'm just going to warn you, you may find some of what I have to say here hurtful and maybe make you angry, and that's not my intent. So give you a few seconds to think about it. This video is meant for single people with children. Could be a single man, it could be a single woman. It doesn't matter. For whatever reason, you and the child's father or mother didn't make it. But you want to be in love, you want to have somebody special in your relationship. A lot of people do. Men are no different than women. We love differently because we are different. Whether you're male or female, you love differently how you approach it, but the love is still the same. But if you have kids, or if there's kids in the mix, I want you to listen, and I hope you don't get too angry with me. And again, who am I? Just somebody in Sacramento. As a single person, one of the things I've learned is that sometimes sex clouds clouds a relationship. Suddenly the sky is bluer, the birds are brighter, and the world's more vivid when you're in love. Know that feeling? You have somebody, they look at you, you look at them, and you light up. And in the early days, it's great. You've got over the initial uncomfortable and stumble, and you're growing familiar. You're getting to know this person, and maybe this guy or this woman you're with is like, wow, this could be the one. But relationships are challenging. Some people say before you move in together, consider a life with each other, wait. Wait. I know he makes you feel good. He does things for you that other men has never do for you before, and he speaks to you in a way that you never thought you would have someone speak to you, but believe it or not, he's still a stranger. And he or she is trying to make their way into your heart. And you're trying to make your way. So things are relatively new. If he or she has a child, whether that child is 3 years old or 43 years old, you need to pause. Second marriages, second relationships with children are much more fragile than a relationship that doesn't even have any children. Early on in a relationship, again, it's love. You like her, she likes you, the kids are polite, everything is wonderful. But everything is wonderful in almost every relationship early on. If you haven't, if you are so blinded by love and the feeling that you're not listening, sometimes we have to turn down the heart and listen with our ears. It's that old thing that we want to slap ourselves when we go, I knew there was a problem, but I didn't pay any attention to it. I avoided it. When there's children involved, it's far more complex. The rod father, if there are children involved, I would say wait 2 or 3 years before committing. The last thing you want to do is commingle your finances, and I'm going to go into details why you shouldn't do that. One, once you commingle finances, if there is a bump in a relationship, detangling that is going to be challenging because at this point there's anger and people have expectations or just resentment, and they may believe they deserve more, maybe what they believe what you put them through. So now that you made the error and bought a house together because you sold your place, maybe you've moved in together, but you didn't expect the 38-year-old son to move in with his family in your 2-bedroom apartment. What? These are real things. Real things. As a step parent, you have no rights or no say to the rearing of someone else's child. I know of a situation where the son was out of control, getting in trouble, and the mother sort of coddled him. The father said, no, 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 no. And the next thing you know, the son says that the step parent abused him and got his bio dad involved in that side of the family. And then there were lawyers and resentment from the wife. But the thing is, you didn't spend enough time getting to know the relationship between he and his mom, or the relationships that you have with your children. How you raise your children may be completely different than the person you're in love with. You could meet someone, it could be a man or woman, who cripples their children with love. What I mean by that is they won't allow their children to grow up. you're 43 years old and mom is making the mortgage payment. 35 years old and dad is still making the car payments, which is putting sort of a strain on the household income. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe you believe that that money he's spending, which you consider jointly because you both work and you're both working together, should go towards yours. Maybe a vacation or something. But you didn't realize. And the moment you say something to his daughter, she's going to tell her dad, and she's going to tell her mother and their grandparents. And this peaceful situation, now it's a war. What? What? Why are they over here with torches and guns? They're here to support the child. You spank your children. That's great. That works for you. That works for the baby mama or your former wife. But that doesn't work on her family. And you can't unilaterally make a decision to spank her children, even though you're all living in the same house. You can't change the situation that they've been doing that seems perfectly normal to you and seems to them and seems crazy to you. You can't make that choice. You have no right to change that part of the family. But see, you didn't take enough time to get to know the family and the family dynamics. You understand, or may not understand. Come on, you're going to get mad at me. You're 65 years old. All your kids are grown, doing well, but your wife's son is struggling, or for whatever reason, she want him to move into the house that's empty with his wife and children to help him save money to maybe buy a house or help him through a bad time. If you're in a home together and you jointly own it, you can't tell him he can't come in. Yes, I can. No, no, that's her child. That's her child or his child. Can't do that. See, part of you saw this happening early on, but you ignored it because maybe you thought you could have some impact and show your future wife's son how to be a man. Or she feels that, well, he's only going to be there till he's 18 and he'll be out. I can tolerate that. But now he's 27, not paying rent, leaving his underwear, leaving food out, turning the AC down to 60 degrees, not paying any. And you say to yourself at times, maybe being single wasn't bad because with my family, I didn't have this stress. See what I mean by relationships being more fragile when there are kids involved? Take your time to get to know someone. I have friends. I love all their kids. Come here. Rodfather, come here. Come here. Let me slap you upside the head. That's how I show my love. By terror. But the good thing is, they don't come home and live with me. Here's some glazed donuts. I'm gonna put extra sugar on it. We'll have fun. And I bought you some soda. I'm leaving. So take a minute, take time, get to know this person, get to know their children. You may want to keep separate residences until they're grown, but you want to pay close attention to relationships she has with her children or he has with his children. If you have a plan, where at one point you're going to be empty nesters and travel the world in your RV, but he puts it off because his children, for whatever reason, can't get it together or he just refused to let them grow up. To me, that's one of the biggest sins of parenting. I've known of somebody who is my age and his father is taking care of him. Maybe because it's guilt, of the divorce. Maybe it's a feeling that he owes his son. But it hurts the marriages. It hurts other relationships. Children find pride. It's like when they learn to walk and they keep falling. And especially with the first one, your heart is going, oh my God, he's falling. But once they figure it out, how to walk without balance and have the balance, there's a pride in that child that he or she found a way to walk on their own. And while you love your kid and you say stupid ass stuff like, well, I don't want them to suffer, so you're crippling them. The win, just like that walking, is their ability to figure it out just as you have. They have to figure it out. Short story, when I was in college, I knew how to play my mom. I purposely spent up all my money, my paycheck money, and then on Sunday, you know, because I got another week before I get paid, I called my mom. I go, I don't know what to do. I have no food. And I would cry. I would call her collect, and I would cry. And I did this. This worked for like 3 months after moving away from home. Because being an adult is hard. It's challenging. And one day, I called her collect with my fake tears and my sad voice. I've always been in too much. That's why acting works for me. But one day she didn't accept the phone call. I like to make a collect call to Rodfather's mother. She wasn't accepting calls. I called her every name I could think of because I deliberately spent my money up. I didn't have enough money to go to work or anything. How could she do this to me? But guess what? I learned to make my paycheck last. I didn't go to the movies. And if I did go to the movies, I didn't order hot dogs and hot tamales, all other things. I would sneak in wheat thins, box of wheat thins, and think if I could sneak in a soda or two. She taught me how to be responsible. But for whatever reason, some parents are like that, and you can't assume. If you believe that you can change the history, the pattern of another family, then therapy is a good thing for you and you shouldn't be in a relationship. In fact, if you think you're going to marry somebody and you want to change who they are, not accept the person you met with the shortcomings that you kind of went, but now that you got him or her, you want to change them. No, you're the person with the issue. So once again, wait a few years. Don't buy a house together. You have no power to put her son out, and she has no power to put your kids out. And you will have to tolerate it. And that puts a stress on a family like no other. Because she loves you. But these are her children or his children. I'm not saying you should marry a person who has children. Absolutely not. But you need to wait and watch. Because Sex if you're good. Some of you are going to go, that's not me. I'm ready to hear it. If you're good, it's 20 minutes, an hour of a 24-hour day. If you don't like the other 23, or the person gets on you other 22 hours, maybe this is not the person for you. Young people don't get that. That's why I didn't want them here getting mad at me. But, I like blue. He likes Curl Green. We both love 16 Candles and Transformer music, and he opens the door when we go to McDonald's, and it just is. I've raised kids. I ain't trying to I ain't trying to relive that. But yes, there are exceptions to the rules. But when there are kids involved, you add another layer, and it's a thick layer of fragile. She may love you, he may love you to the moon and back. But a love of someone's child is completely different. If you don't like the way she's raising her child, you can be in a relationship with her, but that's not maybe somebody you want to say I do to. That's not someone you want to close the white picket fence with. Just keep that in mind. This is a rod father wishing you love, joy, and happiness. Love, joy, peace, and happiness. I missed that the other day. It's a wonderful place if you want it to be. Thank you for watching this long video. Give it some thought. I want to hear your opinions as always. You don't have to agree with me. And once again, there are always exceptions to the rules. I know a couple who's been married. They have a ton of kids and it's harmonious and they've been married forever. There are always exceptions to the rule. But marriage is not a whim. Marriage is not a project. The whole premise of marriage is forever. You can have a relationship with somebody for years and not get married. And you can have the same kind of love for that person as if you were married. Don't get locked in this fairy tale, jump the broom. It's going to be an MGM or Walt Disney ending. Don't get locked up in that. Enjoy who you are as long as who you're with as long as you can. And if you can last forever, it's wonderful. Thank you for watching. This is the Rodfather, and I'm out.